Welcome to Salute to the Ears, where my family and I discuss everything Disney, from parks, food, and rides to travel tips, movies, and more. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Salute to the Ears and part 2 of what's to come in 2023. In this part, we're going to talk about Epcot and the resorts.
There's a lot to talk about.
There is. That's why we broke it up.
If you don't know, I'm Erica.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we are super excited about some of the things that are finally coming around in Epcot. And maybe there will be less construction walls at Epcot this year than there has been
Hopefully.
the last 3 years. One of the things that is so frustrating, though, is that we don't necessarily have dates.
Right.
Like, we have timelines as far as, like, seasons,
And even,
time of the year when it might happen, but
Right.
not, like, defined dates for some of these things for Epcot.
and for some of them, we don't even have, like, they're just saying 2023.
Yeah. So to recap, part 1, we did Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, what's upcoming in 2023. If you missed that episode, go back and listen to that one because it kind of sets up some of this. But one of the biggest things that is coming to Epcot this year, of course, is all of the festivals.
All the festivals. Yep.
All the festivals are returning that we are used to seeing.
And you pretty much got festivals. You do have festivals every month of the year.
There's like a 2-week break, 10-day to 2-week break between each one.
Between each one, yeah. But pretty much every month there's a festival, starting with Festival of the Arts. That one starts January 13th. So Festival of the Holidays just ended, right? January 13th is Festival of the Arts. And this is actually the shortest of all.
Yeah, it's like a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically 5 weeks
Right.
of festival, and then that's it. And then you go into Flower and Garden starting in March.
Which, that one's a long one. That's like 4 months long.
Then you go into Food and Wine in July, mid-July.
Right.
And then that one goes all the way through into November.
Right, mid-November.
And then Festival of the Holidays comes back around. We don't have a defined date for that yet. But those festivals are a huge part of just what the culture of Epcot is
Right.
anymore. And so, especially in World Showcase.
Absolutely.
And it's just a part of the culture of Epcot and the seasons of Epcot. And so those are all returning. There's no plans to add anything new, really, as far as, like, not changing anything big there.
Right. There'll be different, like, food booths
Right.
and different drinks. Like, that will change.
Right. That always does.
You might get some new ones come in and some old ones leave. But for the most part, they remain more or less the same.
With that comes some changes to the overall construction aspect of Epcot. And the newest one that is coming, it sounds like first and foremost, is Journey of Water going to be done first, or is Communicore
Hall and Plaza? Don't know. We'll start with the Communicore Hall and Plaza. What this is, all the pictures you've been seeing, basically a big dirt spot in the middle of Epcot. That's what the Communicore Hall and Plaza is going to be.
If you've been to Epcot previously, this is where that giant fountain was in the center.
Right. And right now it's just the big wall that goes around everything. That's where this is going to be. And they're going to have some concerts there, some festival stuff there, and some more stores. And it's just kind of like the transition point, kind of in the center of the park, where you kind of go from kind of the front to the back. It's kind of separating World Showcase from everything.
So what is the timeline that's happening with that? We announced
They just said 2023.
So sometime this year, we're going to get Communicore Hall and Plaza, which I don't know about you, but is the weirdest. Like, I asked him, I was like, did they get that from Guardians of the Galaxy or what? Like, I feel like that's like a Marvel term somehow. I don't know. The other part of that, hopefully the construction aspect will be done, and it's supposed to be done late 23, but I'm really, really hopeful that it'll be earlier. Then that is finishing Journey of Water, which we have already seen Tafiti get installed.
Right. And we've seen the big rock with the big Moana symbol on it.
So some of the big pieces, the big structure pieces are in and coming in over the next couple of months. And so hopefully that will mean that, by end of summer, we're really looking at, some...
Epcot being done. Wouldn't
Long
that be
time
nice?
coming. Oh my gosh. So huge. I am really excited about the aspect of Journey of Water, though. When they first announced it and they first showed where it was going to be and like what was going to be included, and I'm like, is this really going to fit? And now that some of those big pieces are starting to come in, I'm starting to see it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see some of the vision that I think was there initially with it, and seeing how that can really take in.
I need to see how it's done. If there's an educational element to it as you're walking through,
I think there will be.
Then I think that fits in. Because I think the one thing people need to understand is this attraction is not a ride.
Mm-mm.
It is a walk-through attraction that you're basically different water elements throughout, and Moana and Tafiti are a part of it.
Right. They're an aspect of it, but it's not like doing Journey of the Little Mermaid where you're just like,
right,
or the Nemo ride in the seas. Like, I think this is just going to be, for me, I'm like, how does this compete with the seas building and pavilion, or how does it incorporate into?
Yeah, because I think it's over there kind of heading towards that side.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the aspect's going to be. I don't know what the educational element's going to be. And in order for it to really fit into Epcot, I think you have to have that educational element.
Well, and I think that's what so much of this is going, with the different lands aspect within within Epcot itself, towards the front half of Epcot versus World Showcase.
Mm-hmm.
You've got World Nature, but you've got it broken up into basically 4 sections.
Right.
And all of this will be as part of one. And first and foremost, I'm super excited about the prospect of all of the construction walls being down and being able to actually walk through Epcot and not around Epcot. But I am really excited about Tafiti. I was talking to my sister earlier, and she asked if there was going to be a photo opportunity where you could basically like take a photo where it's going to look like you're in Tafiti's hand. And if that's not part of a photo pass opportunity, they are missing out on having this 16-foot, beautiful, absolutely beautiful structure in place.
I would like to see I wonder if they'll do anything whenever like Flower and Garden comes around.
Oh yeah.
It basically looks like a big topiary.
Yeah, it's basically what it is.
And I want to know if they're going to do anything like extra special, if like no other word, I can overlay.
Oh yeah, that would be really cute. Like to have like some of the pinks and purple flowers like she has when she first comes back.
Right.
That would make a lot of sense to be able to add to it during Flower and Garden. I don't think that would be happening necessarily this year unless, but I can see that being something that happens in 24.
Yeah. It's not going to happen this year. With Flower and Garden starting March 1st, I don't see that happening.
I know less about the Communicore Hall and Plaza and all of that happening. And quite frankly, I loved the fountain.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things, like, for me, is kind of a, like, why did we have to get rid of that in order to...
Right. And they've downsized it so much from the original announcement.
Yeah.
Like we were supposed to have this big 2-story building where they were like going to have like a news station in there and like broadcasting like different Disney news and a place for like a platform to oversee like
it really was
everything.
going to be a communication core
Right.
for Epcot and for Disney World, and it's not going to be that anymore, and it's going to be more entertainment than anything. And
Right.
but I am excited to see the construction walls come down, so let's all pray, and maybe if we walk around them 7 times like Jericho, we can bring them down in 23.
They need to come down because it's just a big mud hole in there right now that holds like 872 porta potties.
Ugh.
There's a ton of them back there.
Another thing though that I am super excited about, and I can't believe it's taken this long to bring back to Epcot because it should have never left Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in 2023, we are getting a Figment meet and greet back. I cannot wait.
I don't know. Figment's just he's not my jam. I know you like him, Mike. I don't hate him.
Okay. I do not like the current ride. Can we be clear on that? Like that is not my jam.
Right. I think if there's
I love the spirit of Figment.
Yeah, no, I do too. I understand that part. I think if there's one thing that I'd love to hear them announce, that would be to completely redo the ride. Because it's a walk-on nearly every time, and it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah, it does. It definitely doesn't fit the quality of other shows and rides.
And the guy who plays the scientist doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. Like, time to change it up. I've smelt the skunk gas enough. It's time for something else.
That doesn't smell like roses, honey. But I am excited about it, and I am excited about it because I think that that's just such an icon of Epcot that for those people who don't remember what Figment was prior to this and what the ride was prior, like, and what the whole storyline was for Figment, it gets kind of lost on, like, why is he such a, like, icon around Epcot? And so I'm hopeful that, like, bringing him back as a meet and greet will kind of help us reestablish that.
Right. Because at one time, they were, like, basically trying to phase him out. When Duffy was first introduced, he was really introduced in Epcot, and all his friends were supposed to go to different countries, and he just didn't catch on here the way that he did over in Tokyo. I think if Duffy would have caught on, I don't know that Figment would still be around.
No, I don't think he would either, but I do enjoy the fact that we're going to get a Figment meet and greet back. Again, don't have a defined timeline for that. Just know that it's coming.
If we can have Figment, why can't we have Baymax back?
I would rather have Baymax back. I mean, if I had to vote, I'd say Baymax, but I need him to be able to. I need him to be able to verbalize the, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your pain.
Right.
Like, I need him to say his name like,
right.
I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion.
He was there briefly, and then COVID hit and he went away, and he's never come back.
Baymax is one of our all-time favorite characters, and I really do hope that there is an Imagineer somewhere that is secretly working on building a real-life Baymax with all the titanium pieces and all the things. Like,
I think Baymax will be a Disneyland thing more so than he'll be a Disney World thing. I think whenever they put in the whole pier that they were talking about doing.
Oh, yeah, over in when they're basically going to build San Fran Tokyo.
Yep. Over in California Adventure. I think that's where we'll see Baymax. I don't know that we'll ever see him in Disney World again, though. Makes me sad.
It does make me sad, too.
So something else that ended, or is ending.
Yeah, it's not ended yet.
Hasn't ended yet in Epcot is Harmonious. And it's going to end when the 50th anniversary ends on March 31st. So, and I don't know, I like Harmonious. I like the colors of Harmonious.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way that they incorporated all the different countries with the music.
Mm-hmm.
I understand Epcot, more than I think any other park, has people who are really tied to tradition and of what they like. And they were, no matter what was really like going to be the permanent show following Illuminations, people weren't going to be happy.
Yeah.
And they definitely weren't happy once they rolled out the tacos and the Stargate in the middle of the lagoon, and it changed the whole like view out there.
Mm-hmm. It's my least favorite part of Harmonious is the structure pieces. Like, I love the colors. I love I don't even mind the story and the kind of, you know, the way the music flows and the images. It's not that I dislike those things. I am not a fan of the tacos. I'm not a fan of the water features off of them. I think that at least 80% of the time they feel obstructive rather than feeling distracting, rather than feeling like a part of the show, like and like really cool.
See, and I felt like they were a good part of the show because I think it adds to the color.
I just get so focused on the structure part of it and where the water is like coming out of and seeing all of it versus like there's just too much that's exposed for me. There's too much of it that's exposed. Again, personal opinion. If you love it, great. I'm thrilled for you that they have a show right now that you love. I love all the colors. I love the storyline. I just don't like the tacos. I wish that we could lose the tacos.
I'll be interested to see what happens with all that stuff. If it's going to be incorporated with the new show because they spent so much money on it, or if they're just going to get rid of them. So
the new show that's coming is Epcot Forever.
Well, it's the temporary show.
That's the temporary show that is coming.
And it's coming back because that's what was in between Illuminations and Harmonious.
Okay, so we got Harmonious right now. End of March, that's going away. We're going to get Epcot Forever back.
Correct.
Which has some elements of Illuminations. Am I remembering that right?
Not really. It was kind of like its standalone show.
Was it?
Yeah. I'll be like, when it came back after COVID, because it came back before Harmonious after COVID. And one of the things people really liked about it was the kites and stuff at night.
Oh, that's right.
And they took them away, and it partly was because the people who were doing the kites were training to do kite tails over in Animal Kingdom. Well, now that kite tails is gone, I'll be interested to see if those people come back with those nighttime kites.
Yeah, that would be nice. Then there's supposed to be a new show coming.
Right. We don't know.
Sometime in 23 or not until 24?
Sometime in 23, celebrating the 100 years.
That'll be interesting to me to see if we get that before October.
Yeah. No, I think...
If we get that before October, or if that's going to be one of those pieces that comes out on October 16th.
No, I think it's... From stuff have seen, I think it's something they want to get out sooner rather than later. But they don't want to rush it. And I don't know if it's going to be another temporary show or if this is going to be a long-term replacement.
Oh, like a temporary show as far as like just the 100th, and we're just trying to get through 100th, and then we're going to have something that lasts a few more years or whatever.
Right.
I am excited. Like, I'm really, really hopeful that by the end of 23, we are going to see no, or at least very few construction walls at Epcot.
It's been a long time.
Way too long of having to go the long way around. And that is the biggest thing that we want you to know about coming into 2023 in Epcot, is that some point in 2023, the construction walls are going to be coming down in a lot of different places.
Right.
And I do think that will just make it's been a deterrent. I mean, having Guardians open has been a help as far as drawing people over to Epcot. But you're still not going to get them to stay in Epcot and not park hop over.
Possibly.
Or leave and go back without when you still have all of this construction.
Right. I think what it really comes down to, like I said, Epcot has probably the most loyal fan base.
Yeah. And
that gets passed on from generation to generation. And unless if you're going there like strictly, hey, I want to do some rides, then Epcot's probably not your jam, right? If you're going there because it's like, oh, Epcot's my favorite. I love going around a World Showcase and Like, it's the place that a lot of the 20-somethings, even early 30-somethings, like, really go and they like to drink and hang out and eat. And it's a little bit more...
It has a totally different vibe.
Right.
It has a totally different vibe than the other parks. And it should.
It should.
It should. I'm not, like, we aren't denying that at all, but there's hope that there's going to be more people who then want to spend more time in Epcot,
right.
which will help with some of the capacity and crowd issues at the other parks as far as just the day-to-day things.
Right.
Because right now, even when Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios are booked solid and you can't get a reservation, you can almost always still get into Epcot.
Yep.
And that says something to me.
Right.
Right? Like, with the reservation system. We're not going to talk about that because there's been no announcements there, but please, anybody at Disney is listening to this.
There's lots of rumors. There's stuff that's going to come out at the beginning of the year.
So, speaking of parks that you can usually get a reservation for.
Right.
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom.
We got nothing.
There's no announced new updates, rides, restaurants, shows, anything. Nothing.
Which is funny because we have this empty thing now with Kite Tails being down.
Right. Whole amphitheater
the whole amphitheater that has no plans right now. We have no information about what's happening there.
You got carnival games over in Dino Land. That's really it.
No information about what's changing or happening there. I have a feeling sometime in 23 we're going to hear an announcement about that.
I think so too. Like, there isn't anything confirmed.
I just think there's so many open projects right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to
close
out some projects before they open any new ones. I'm sure the bank's probably like, you have to close out some accounts.
Yeah, especially with the way stock prices have been going.
Now, even though there's no big news for Animal Kingdom,
right,
there is for some of the resorts.
Yeah, and some resorts that have a very loyal following. Like we just talked about Epcot. Well, one of them closest to Epcot is Boardwalk.
Yep.
And a lot of people really like staying at Boardwalk because you can walk to Epcot and you can also walk to Hollywood Studios from there. It has been in need of an update for a while. They updated the creepy clown pool there, last summer or 2 summers ago, something like that. And
I think it opened up last summer.
Right. They still kept almost like the circus, like boardwalk, Atlantic Boardwalk, old school Atlantic Boardwalk feel to the pool. Well, they started switching out some of the furniture in the lobby because they're supposed to be doing the lobbies and the rooms at Boardwalk. Started switching out some of the furniture in the lobby, and people are not happy because once again it looks like they went shopping at IKEA.
Which, don't get me wrong, we love us some IKEA furniture. However,
right, you can't have it in all the resorts. No, it looks like the retro stuff from IKEA, and it doesn't necessarily
mod,
kind of, and it doesn't necessarily fit in Boardwalk.
So that's a lot of what they put in Contemporary. I kind of almost wonder if they were using some of the extras from Contemporary right now, to fill some holes.
I just started seeing pictures of it today, and people were hammering it pretty badly. Now, granted, the negative side of Disney changes seems to pop out first before some of the positive stuff starts to float to the top. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of what I saw either.
No, but you also have the understanding of, especially when it comes to interior design type stuff, I forced you to watch enough HGTV in your lifetime to appreciate that, what you see to begin with is not necessarily what the final product is.
Right. I'm just afraid each resort had its own theme, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like some of these resorts, their theming is gone, and they're just kind of blending together.
They are to a point, and I think some of that, though, comes from our thought process, I think, changed, too, as far as, what materials you use in places and how you set things up in light of COVID.
Right.
And
what's easiest to clean.
What's easiest to clean, how to, how do you space things out in a different way than maybe you would have before COVID? Like, and not because there's like a fear thing there, but just as like a, hey, we don't want to have to go through and change all these things again if something like this were to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we kind of kill two birds with one stone here
Right.
with this? I don't think that's entirely it, but I do think it's a factor now that wasn't there before. It
Right.
just wasn't.
No, it's something they have to think about.
You know,
right.
Maybe use more leather now than cloth, right? Maybe you use more things that are slip covered versus like being solid
right.
fabric. It does. It changes the way that you think about the structures of a room versus pre-COVID.
Right.
So I am very interested to see how this plays out, especially inside the rooms.
Right.
And the refurb.
I still think there's a way to use those type of materials and still make it look and feel like a 1920s Atlantic City boardwalk.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, I know you didn't see the pictures. I didn't get that feel at all with it. So I'm interested to see how it goes.
I'm also interested in Boardwalk, in what is taking over where the ESPN restaurant and hangout, what was that called?
It's called the Cake Bake Shop. And evidently it's a chain. Like, there's a couple other ones around the country. Basically like a little bakery that specializes in cakes and have like afternoon tea and that kind of stuff there. Going like complete opposite of ESPN.
What it was with ESPN, no joke. I mean, don't get me wrong. I never thought that ESPN fit being at Boardwalk.
No, I mean, I understand what they were going
when
for.
you're
but
going
I
for
think
the theming of like the 1920s Atlantic Boardwalk, that
right.
ESPN doesn't fit.
It definitely should have been over and probably in Disney Springs.
Yeah.
It should have been the big sports bar over in Disney Springs is what it should have been.
So I am excited to have another something else along there that
right.
is not just ice cream, that is
no,
not just...
And you got some nice restaurants along there. I'm hoping it's like we just had the little bakery open where you can go get sandwiches and soup and that kind of stuff and like some morning stuff. And then today also the new coffee shop inside a Boardwalk opened. I guess we're close enough to 23 for that one.
Yeah.
To where now you can go in there and get coffee and some baked goods. Because Boardwalk, the resort itself, does not have a quick service restaurant.
Yeah.
They're like, you can just go out to the Boardwalk and get something.
You can go out to the Boardwalk and get something. Yacht and Beach is a short walk around the little lagoon there and does have a quick service option, right?
I think so.
One of them does. I think one of them doesn't, but
right.
one of them does.
I know Boardwalk does not for sure have a quick service. So this new coffee shop it looks like maybe a little bit of grab and go stuff and some baked goods is probably a welcome to anybody who this is your favorite resort. And there's a lot of DBC members and a lot of people who like this resort primarily for the location because they like being able to walk into the World Showcase side of Epcot and then also be able to it's like a 10-minute walk to Hollywood Studios if they want. And then also, if you're going into that side of Epcot, you can also just hop on the Skyliner and ride that around if you want.
That is, I love the Skyliner so much.
I mean, it's going to be faster for you to walk or take the boats than it is to take the Skyliner, but we do like the Skyliner and riding around.
We sure do.
I know you're looking up which one has a quick service, whether it's Beach Club or Yacht Club.
Oh, this is something else that we need to bring up as far as 2023. And this is going to affect those. It's short, which is great, but Skyliner's going to be down for refurbishment later this month in January. And so I totally forgot about that. I can't believe we missed it on our list.
Right.
But particularly January 22nd through the 29th. So if you are going at the end of this month, sorry. Obviously, they have to bring it down some points for refurbishment and making sure that everything is on track and good to go. And that is a low time for crowds. So that makes the most sense. But that means that they will increase buses, boats, all the things to help alleviate the stress
Right.
of transportation.
Right. And I will always tell people, too, to check to see, like, what's closed for refurbishment when you go. Because stuff is always down, whether it's rides or shows or Skyliner. There's stuff that's always down. I mean, they got to schedule time for refurbishment for all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the monorail isn't running nearly as many trains just because some of them are in for refurbishment.
Yeah.
Do a double check before you go to see what's going to be open. It's don't plan on staying at Caribbean Beach because you're like, hey, we get to ride a Skyliner, and then you get down there and you realize, oh, the Skyliner's closed, because really that's the big draw for staying at Caribbean Beach right now. Another resort that is getting a bit of a refurb, and this one is, well, they've been doing the DVC rooms, but the main thing, and this one's going to be kind of controversial, is the lobby at Grand Floridian.
I'm not surprised it needed to be
somewhat
touched up and
right.
updated, and like, and I don't mean like changed, updated. I mean just like, hey, we need to maybe replace something, like some railings and some paint color, or
it's that lobby is so iconic. They got to be very careful with how they do it. If they come in and IKEA it out as well, there's going to be
there'll be a revolt. And I don't think they will. I really don't.
I don't know. I don't know. For some resorts that works well. Like, we love Gran Destino. That the room itself inside is pretty IKEA-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But it works there for what that resort is.
Mm-hmm.
For some resorts, it doesn't work well for. Like, Contemporary, it didn't work out so hot.
I think it could have.
It could have. They didn't do it well. Grand Floridian, I hope they follow the cues that they did for their updated rooms, because their updated DVC rooms are beautiful.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. I think that we already have a taste of what those updates and refurbishments are going to be, because we've already seen the room updates there, and they're so good.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think that this is going to be as drastic and as terrible as what we're thinking. Whereas, like, with Boardwalk, I feel like with Boardwalk, there's just, like, a disconnect there that, and even with Contemporary, where it's like, there's only so many things we can do.
I feel like with Boardwalk, people didn't get specific enough. All they wanted was those creepy chairs gone. Right?
Oh my God, they were so bad.
They were really bad. Those things were creepy. And then people need to be specific on Grand Floridian, too, that they cannot touch Uncle Jesse's piano. It needs to stay in place.
I don't think anything's going to happen to Uncle Jesse's piano.
He better not. They better not touch it. It's iconic. Big moments.
He's connected enough to Disney. I think
he's
that
a Disney
it
fan
will.
Disney fan as well.
If you don't get our reference, talking about John Stamos from when he was on Full House, and when they made a trip to Disney World and they stayed at the Grand Floridian, and he played on the piano, like
singing to Aunt Becky.
But John Stamos is a huge Disney fan, and so hugely connected to the parks and to Disney media, like
and somebody playing the piano in the Grand Floridian lobby is iconic. I mean, they already got rid of their orchestra that they had.
Mm-hmm.
They got to at least keep the piano player.
Yeah, no, I think they will, because it just sets the tone and the ambiance there in such a way that it is the most elegant of the.
It's fancy.
It's fancy,
it's like,
and it's why we won't stay there.
Yeah, it's like, be careful what you sit on, because some of us grandma's good furniture.
Yeah. Is it wrong that, like, there's a part of me that feels like some of it should be covered in plastic?
It feels like it. Maybe that's why they decided to update it. Because, I mean, some of it, like, feels like it's, I'm a kid, and
I can't touch this, and I can't, like, versus feeling like upscale elegance. Like, yeah, I can see that.
It was vintage elegant.
Well, it was crossing over into the ancient, like, it's...
I mean, I understand they're trying to keep up with, like, the Victorian
But you can get... There's, like, two kinds of Victorian. There is a elegant Victorian that has, like, stayed timeless and classic and very... And there's another one that has become, like... I don't know if chintzy's the right word, but, like... I don't... Like, it's just become like, it's too much pink. It's too much, like, frilly. It's too, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what they're trying to embody.
I guess there's another resort that's getting some updates. We kind of talked about it a little bit, and pictures have come out with it, and that is over at Caribbean Beach.
Yeah.
And the pirate rooms are no more. I mean,
I love the theming of the pirate rooms. However, apparently the beds themselves were horrific.
Awful. Which you can actually find at some of the like antique and thrift shops around Orlando. Nate from Paging Mr. Morrow, he'll go around to some of these shops every now and then, and the beds, like the ships, were in there.
I mean, I would have brought one home. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I would have brought one home.
Yeah.
Now, I would have brought one home because I would have wanted to use it for Halloween decor.
Right.
Because I set up my whole pirate ship thing out front, and that would have been amazing. But I loved the theming of those rooms at Caribbean Beach, but I do understand that, like, again, a mark was missed as far as, like, those rooms being able to be reviewed well and being like, oh, yes, you want to stay in these.
And it's being updated with a Little Mermaid theme, but it's not, like, in your face. It's just, like, under the sea. Some lighter colors, because those rooms aren't the biggest. And, I mean, I guess they're okay size for a moderate, but...
Yeah.
Those pirate rooms are pretty dark.
They were.
And there's a lot of dark woods even in the normal Caribbean Beach rooms.
Yeah, but I think that that's part of the whole appeal with it. You have all the, like, bright exterior colors, and then you have these, like, warmer, darker woods and stains used inside.
Well, they're lightening it up a lot with the new rooms. And it's going to have...
I'm not thrilled about the fact that Little Mermaid's being incorporated into it, partly because she's already over in Art of Animation and someplace else.
Right. But she's not... This isn't, like, in your face. And it's... Like, looking at the pictures, I don't even see Ariel swimming around. Maybe... I got a feeling, because there's a pull-down bed there. I got a feeling she's probably the artwork behind that.
And if it's not her, it's at least some iconic...
Yeah, it's like Flounder or somebody. But you just got, it kind of looks like you're under the sea, like in a coral reef in there. And it's not bad.
No matter what, we knew they were going to have to update those rooms because they are the farthest away from the lobby. They're the farthest away from,
right.
You know, a lot of the amenities.
Right. And have said, like, I don't mind Caribbean Beach Resort. Like, the grounds itself are fine. They're pretty. I don't mind it. It's big. It's really big. But they are by far my least favorite rooms.
Yeah.
And they need to do something with, because they even had like a mildewy smell, and it just wasn't good. It wasn't good.
I didn't mind them, but I do understand the why. But here's the thing. They are the most popular rooms now for a moderate.
Absolutely.
You can hardly get them booked.
Right. For our military discount, it used to be, that one was the easiest one to get. You can't even use the military discount on them anymore.
No. That is something else we probably should have brought up for 2023 is the new military rates for this year.
Yeah.
Make sure you check those out on Disney's website. There are some updates to some of the information and what you get out of it.
Right.
Some of it has remained the same, but there are some changes. So make sure you check those out if you are planning to use military discount tickets this year.
Right. It's fewer places to be able to get those military rates for resorts, and ticket prices have gone up some.
I really wish that they would utilize something like ID Me or another service that allows you to be able to book and look at those things, or at least look at the rates online.
Right.
Instead, you do still have to call.
You do.
And get those rates for those military rates, even though it is 2023.
Right.
So we do have one of the best travel agents around. If you need somebody we'll link her in the show notes, our good friend Lori. And I think that's all of the major updates that we have
for Disney
World in 2023.
Right.
Our next episode, part 3, is going to be Disneyland.
Right. Which is kind of us branching out a little bit. We don't really talk about Disneyland a whole lot.
Well, our experience is incredibly limited when it comes to land.
Yeah.
And The nice thing, though, is that 2023, we've talked about it a little bit. We are going.
Right.
Like, we're going out to California sometime this year. Super excited about getting to spend some time with some family and possibly meet some friends out there and get to experience it. And so there are some big things, though, coming, especially in light of the 100th.
Right. Because it's the epicenter for the 100th celebration.
Super looking forward to that. Make sure you check out episode 3. Like, follow, and share. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Salute to the Ears.
And with that, go out and find your joy.
And have a magical week.